Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all in the tribe and to new folks that have just joined us today. And welcome from around the world. As you know, we have had participants in our tribe webinars in over 31 countries, and we're out actively hosting CEO presentation and Q&A events across the country here in the U.S. In 35 venues, and look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon in the new year. Again, my name is John Heerdick, if some of you don't know, and I'm the founder of Tribe Public. And welcome to today's Tribe Public CEO presentation and Q&A event titled Enabling Continuous Drug Delivery for Parkinson's Disease and Beyond. Today we are with our co-host, Stephen A. Ledger. He is the CEO of Serina Therapeutics, trades on the New York Stock Exchange. American, SER is the symbol. Serina is a clinical stage biotechnology company developing a pipeline of wholly owned drug product candidates to treat neurological diseases and other indications. Serina's POZ platform, POZ, POZ, platform provides the potential to improve the integrated efficacy and safety profile of multiple modalities, including small molecules, RNA-based therapeutics, and antibody-based drug conjugates, ADCs. Serina is headquartered in Huntsville, Alabama, on the campus of the Hudson Alpha Institute of Biotechnology. The event today is targeted to be approximately 30 minutes. Please note that I'm, again, the managing member of Tribe Public. Our website is www.tribepublic.com, Public.com. Please note I am also the managing director of Vista Partners. It's a registered investment advisor in California, and its website is Vista P Global. That's V as in Victor, ISTAP as in Paul, Global, GLOBAL.com. There's a number of interesting stories there, from Merck to Tesla to NVIDIA to Serina Therapeutics, and you can learn a lot there as well. Please review both sets of disclaimers at the Tribe Public website and also at the Vista website. Know that I'm a shareholder of Serina Therapeutics and acting as an advisor to Serina Therapeutics, and I'm not acting as an investment advisor capacity for Tribe members. You should all consult with an advisor and do your complete due diligence on your own and on with your advisor if you're not an advisor yourself. As many of you know that, again, we're working in these live events, and if you'd like to see, after hearing this event today or viewing this event today, to learn more, we could possibly get Stephen A. Ledger here from Serina out to your tribe city, as we call them, and host either a lunch and dinner event or a speaking engagement. So please keep that in mind. We have the wish list process at the website, 24/7, 365 at Tribe Public. Just submit the name of the company, Serina, or any other company that you want to meet, and we'll do our best if we get enough interest in the area to see if we can get them to host an event in your tribe city so you can learn more. So again, today we have our co-host, Stephen A. Ledger, CEO of Serina Therapeutics. Again, the symbols SER on the NYSE American. And I'd like him to start today by telling us a little bit about himself and what brought him to being the CEO of Serina, and then go into his presentation. Thanks for some of the questions you've already sent in. Note, if you already haven't sent in, please use the Zoom chat feature if you think of a question along the way, and we'll do our best to get them answered today. And after this, we'll get the event video up at the Tribe Public YouTube channel as soon as possible within the day, and you can view there if you want to review some of this that or missed some of the information as we were going along. So thanks again for coming and your attention. Look forward to seeing you soon. Stephen, please start.
Thanks, John, and thank you all for sharing your time with us today to hear the Serina story. My background is not typical of a life sciences CEO. I started my career on the buy side as an equity analyst and portfolio manager at Fidelity Investments about 1 million years ago, it feels like. And 3 or 4 decades later, I'm no longer in the business of managing other people's money. and ended up in the business of advising early stage companies in technology and life sciences as a board member, advisor, investor. And I met Serina in 2019 with my investor hat on, they were looking to raise a Series B funding. I was looking for a drug delivery technology for a certain set of molecules that looked to be interesting to build a company around. To make a long story short, I ended up as the acting CFO of the company, then interim CEO in driving the capital plan and the reverse merger, and then was made the CEO, I believe, in September of this year. So my background is as an investor primarily, so I've always brought that lens to how we build this company, how we think about allocating capital, to platform, to assets. How do we build Serina most efficiently and drive the most value? And John, thank you for having us at this event. Hopefully we'll have enough interest to have other events where we can talk about the platform, because the platform addresses multiple modalities, and we won't have time to talk about RNA and ADCs today, but stay tuned on that. We're going to talk about how our technology can enable better performance from small molecule drugs. Forward-looking statement. You will hear forward-looking statements. Just a really quick background on Serina. I think it's important. The founders of Serina, in their prior life, founded a company called Shearwater Polymers. Shearwater invented the technology, the first generation of the technology known as pegylation or PEG. It was the go-to standard half-life extension technology for proteins, biologics, large molecules, proteins, aptamers, peptides, etc. Shearwater was a pure partnering model, licensing the technology to drug developers for their molecules. And of the 24 programs that Shearwater worked on, 11 of them ended up as approved drugs, 2 which are major blockbusters, Neulasta from Amgen and Pegasus from Roche, are well-known drugs that were multi-billion-dollar franchises over a couple of decades. Serina was created as the vehicle to build a better polymer, a polymer that could not only control the release kinetics of large molecules, but could do something that PEG and other biocompatible polymers could not do, which is control the release kinetics of a small molecule. And as it turns out, it can do much more than just small molecule drug optimization. We're going to talk today about the lead program, which is our advanced Parkinson's drug, which we will have in the clinic in the second half of next year. Further down the road, we'll share what we're doing in RNA, a very exciting field. We're partnered with Pfizer in the vaccine space. And importantly, we're very well backed by a group called Juvenescence, which controlled the shell that we merged into. Juvenescence is the investment vehicle of our board member, Greg Bailey. Greg was the lead investor in early fundings at Biohaven and Medivation. Both those companies were successful, brought public, sold to Pfizer, interestingly, both of those companies for a total of $25 billion. So Greg is a very founder, scientist-friendly investor, not a well-known VC, and he's fully behind our game plan at Serina, which is to create another one of those multi-billion-dollar exits for investors. I like to preview investors with sort of what they're going to hear, and then tell them about it. And what you're going to hear is about the extraordinary risk-reward equation behind our lead asset, pos-apomorphine. We look for markets with a large unmet need, but importantly, we also look to posylate molecules that have been clinically de-risked to some extent. They may be approved molecules in other indications, maybe other therapeutic areas, maybe a route of administration like IV administered, where you have to go to an infusion center to get the drug into a therapeutic index that's beneficial for the patient. And then we look to use our technology to create a highly differentiated target product profile versus the existing standard approach that molecule it has been wrapped in within a product. And so we'll talk about that TPP and our partnership with Enable Injections, which is an important piece of this TPP. What's also extraordinary about the risk-reward profile of this asset is that we're taking it into the clinic in actual advanced patients with the commercial product that we would be marketing, or more accurately, a partner that we out-license the asset to would be taking to market. So it's a phase 1b trial in advanced patients. And the trial design we can talk a little bit about at the end if we have time. But we will have early readouts on efficacy in advanced patients in a phase 1b trial in 2026, early 2027. And these are certainly, if we get the readouts we expect, those are significant value driving events if they are, if we're successful in getting there. Importantly, because we're working with a known active drug called apomorphine, it's approved in the US as a rescue therapy, a drug called Apokine, about a $400 million market globally. And that drug is used as an injection in the morning to get a Parkinson's patient from an off state where they are, they're cognitively not there. They're having motor fluctuations because their meds have stopped working overnight. And so it's used as a rescue therapy to quickly get patients on. It hasn't worked as a longer acting therapeutic because of certain issues with the molecule itself that our technology solves for, and you'll hear about that. So what we believe we have a strong case with the agency for what's called a 505(b)(2) regulatory pathway. And what this does is it streamlines the timeline and the cost because it only requires, after our 1B trial, a single pivotal 2B3 trial to get to an NDA application, an approved drug. So instead of the 7-year ultramarathon, it's perhaps possible that we have a 5-year from first patient dosing to drug approval. And that's a very important, obviously, time to value difference. So what is pause apomorphine, and what does it mean for Parkinson's disease? Pause apomorphine is a new class of drugs that is being labeled by the analysts and the KOLs, the key opinion leaders, a class called continuous dopaminergic stimulation. The current standard of care for 50 years has been oral levodopa, carbidopa. The carbidopa is an optimization combination that allows the levodopa to more efficiently hit the dopamine receptor. So that combination of drugs in an oral form has been the standard of care. There are about 10 million people in the world that are probably taking levodopa, carbidopa to control their symptoms early in the Parkinson's journey. This class of continuous dopaminergic stimulation is meant to be able to deliver that dopaminergic stimulation continuously 24/7. Because levodopa, carbidopa, because it has a very short half-life, has a phasic peak and trough where the drug wears off very quickly, you have to redose, and that bombardment of the dopamine receptors ultimately leads to even more significant motor fluctuations called dyskinesias. This molecule, apomorphine, as I mentioned, is clinically proven as a dopamine agonist in other indications. It has serious adverse local administration site reactions, so it has not worked as an infusion product, and Big Pharma has been working on the molecule for 30 years to harness it. Most recently, a company called Neuroderm out of Israel, which was sold to Mitsubishi Tanaki in 2017 for a little over $1 billion. And it had 2 assets, and they were both in this CDS drug class for advanced Parkinson's. One of those assets just had a great phase 3 readout, probably will be approved in 2025. We'll show you that target product profile versus our asset. But the bottom line is apomorphine was abandoned by Mitsubishi because they could not dial out the skin reactions of apomorphine. When apomorphine, the active ingredient, hits the subcutaneous compartment, it creates a poison oak, times 100 type skin reaction where there's nodules created And they don't go away. The injection site needs to be moved. It's not a product that lends itself to a longer acting therapeutic. We've dialed that out, and the way our technology works is how that's dialed out. So here's a linear representation of the polymer, and we attach the active drug to pendants, and these pendants are cleaved by an enzyme in the blood called butyrylcholinesterase, and that releases the active drug in the plasma. Other approaches to apomorphine release the active drug in the sub-Q compartment, so they create this skin reaction. We don't have that skin reaction, and we've done dozens of monkeys, and the bottom line is we're very comfortable with our monkey models, our non-human primate models translating to humans, because monkeys have the exact same enzyme in their blood, butyrylcholinesterase, right down to the amino acid level. So in a prior phase 1 trial with an asset that we took into the clinic for early Parkinson's, we saw exactly what we had modeled in primates. So we've got a high degree of confidence we're not going to be surprised by the therapeutic index that we see in humans when we take this into the clinic. Here's a visual representation on the left of those skin nodules from a product from Supernus, which is an infusion electronic pump of apomorphine. This is about a $100 million product in Europe. It's approved in Europe. It has not been approved in the US. It's gotten 2 CRL rejections at FDA because of the challenges of operating the pump and the skin reactions. So it has not been approved in the US. Here's on the right a representation of a monkey that's undergone multiple injections of SER-252, and you don't see any skin reactions at all versus that monkey getting ApoGo. And again, PAWS only releases the free apomorphine in the vascular circulation. Inevitably, the Parkinson's patient journey leads to the orange box here, which is inadequately controlled symptoms. Levodopa carbidopa works very well as a monotherapy in those early years, even with the phasic peak and trough. But as you get out to year 3, 4, 5, 6, that's when clinicians typically prescribe adjunctive therapies like MAO-B inhibitors, et cetera, and to control symptoms. And so this is the cocktail that the patient typically is on. There are some longer acting formulations of levodopa that are part of the toolkit, but ultimately you get out into a situation where we all have seen Michael J. Fox and his condition, and his journey has been very public. He's undergone deep brain stimulation. He's used all these therapies, and it is a very, very challenging disease. And ultimately, there is nothing that is really meeting the needs of these patients, or there really hasn't been in terms of a therapy and a product. And this is where we will enter the market in this advanced patient segment. But we have the opportunity. We won't talk about it today, but our trial design will tease out the opportunity to take our therapy even earlier in the patient journey, which would expand the market opportunity that we're going to show you today. So sizing that patient population, those patients that are advanced patients, their needs are unmet, their symptoms are uncontrolled. That's about 180,000 today in just the major markets. A market like Japan might have another 25,000. Australia might have 10,000. You start to add up the rest of the world, and you probably double this quite easily. But this is the focus, the path of least resistance to market, and this is growing at a 1.5 to 2% rate a year. And sadly, Parkinson's is growing also, incidences of Parkinson's. And so these are the products that are in that new emerging drug class called continuous dopaminergic stimulation. The first product was an AbbVie product. It was approved about 5 or 6 years ago. Very invasive product, electronic pump, surgical port, that would infuse continuously a gel formulation of levodopa carbidopa into the small intestine. Product works very well, keeps a Parkinson's patient in an on state. And by on state, I mean cognitively present with controlled motor fluctuations and being able to go on with the daily tasks of life. albeit having to wear an electronic infusion pump that has to be taken off at night. The port has to be kept clean, and it's a very complicated device, and it typically requires a home healthcare aide to manage it for the patient. In spite of that terrible product profile, the drug did peak sales of about 500 million a couple years ago, and did about 471 million in 2023. I think it was 450 in 2024. I'll update that slide. The most exciting drug that has come to market, and this is just recently, this approval, drug isn't quite on the market yet, but got an FDA approval a couple of months ago, is AbbVie's follow-on to this, invasive product called Duopa. It's called Vyalev. And what they've been able to do is take levodopa carbidopa, put it into a liquid formulation. It's still infused via an electronic pump that's worn continuously, but it's now a sub-Q infusion. It's not a port, to the intestines. So a better product, but still the patient is wearing their therapy 24/7. You've got to manage the electronic pump, the battery charging, the infusion site, creates skin reactions, etc. Mitsubishi, I mentioned Neuroderm. Mitsubishi also acquired an asset that is a Me Too Vyalev type product. And both these products we believe will be on the market. FDA approved Vyalev in October 24. We think this product from Mitsubishi will be approved in 2025. So together, the analysts believe, and Neuroderm's product isn't in this because it's not approved yet. This is only approved products in the US or Europe. Duopa is the legacy product from AbbVie, the surgical port in the intestines. 400 million-ish, 450 million in revenue, is going to decline and be cannibalized by AbbVie's new product, Vyalev, which analysts believe will be $1 billion drug, and maybe higher. Some analysts, forecasts are higher. Supernus, the ApoGo product in Europe, is about a $100 million product. The analysts don't believe that is a viable product and don't believe it'll be approved by FDA in the US. So what does that mean for our product? Just to cut to the chase. We've conservatively modeled blockbuster potential for pos apomorphine, and we'll talk about our extraordinary target product profile and why our market share assumptions in this emerging drug class of continuous dopaminergic stimulation are realistic, if not conservative. Our base case is that, remember back on that slide where we had 180,000 patients today growing at 1.5% to 2% a year. And you model that out, so you've got a patient set that should be seeking treatment for their advanced conditions that are inadequately controlled. On the base case, if we call this our 40-40 case, if 40% of those patients seek treatment and 40% of those seeking treatment use our product, that gets you to 37,753 patients. Using conservative pricing, we've just modeled Duopa's pricing, which is AbbVie's legacy product, a terrible product, the surgical port. You get a $1.4 billion peak sales drug. Importantly, our upside case is a 50-50 case. 50% of those patients seek treatment. We get 50% market share. That gets you to $2.2 billion using that same pricing paradigm. Medicare B for Duopa, pricing in the US, NHS pricing in the UK, very conservative. Vyalev, we built this slide before Vyalev was approved in October and announced their wholesale acquisition cost that they were publishing on the Medicare B website at $119,000 per patient per year. For, to give you an idea of the difference, the Duopa pricing in the US, Medicare B pricing, is $62,500 a year to $67,500 a year. We're going to make the case when we get there, if we get there, that we should be priced at a premium to Vyalev. So because of the extraordinarily easy to use product profile that we're building. And so those models, if you just use Vyalev and discount from Vyalev, you're now at 2.5 to 3.5 billion in sales. So this is clearly a blockbuster drug. And remember that early slide where I talked about the extraordinary risk reward profile, we've got a largely clinically de-risked molecule. We just bring a better delivery system and a better product wrapper to it, and a potential regulatory pathway that's earlier rather than later, and a very efficient use of capital to get this to an NDA. For example, our phase 1B SAD/MAD trial, we will spend $8 million to get to a readout where we will believe we will have a decent view, because we're getting PK efficacy in real patients. We'll have a decent view as whether we have an approvable drug, and we think we'll be able to fund that phase 2 trial at a very efficient cost of capital. And so, here, cutting to the chase here, this is our product. You're looking at it here. We partnered with Enable Injections, a company we've been working with for 7 years. And I would encourage you to go to their website and watch a video of this really elegant product. There are no electronics in it other than a Bluetooth chip that connects to your physician's phone and your own app, with alerts and monitoring of the patient's compliance with their therapy. But this is a device that our patients will wear on body for 10 to 20 minutes twice a week. That's our target product profile. This device was approved last fall, about a year ago, for a drug called Empaveli, which is an Apellis drug. I would encourage you to look at that as well. The dosing regimen for Empaveli is exactly our dosing regimen, twice a week, on body for 10 minutes to 20 minutes. And so we've done an enormous amount of work with Enable around this product. I won't spend any more time on it, but go look at the video. You'll see how easy it is for a Parkinson's patient who's in an on state. A Parkinson's patient in an off state can't really do much at all. But this drug is designed to keep a Parkinson's patient, once they're on, always on, 24/7, without ever coming off, and never needing an infusion pump or anything like this. So very excited about this. The KOLs in the space are really excited about this product. And the KOLs are who's who of Parkinson's trials, including the PI on Biolev and the PI on the Neuroderm Mitsubishi assets. They both know this product profile very well, and have consulted with investors who diligenced our opportunity, et cetera, including Enable Injections in their diligence of Serina as a partner, and this as a product. And we can talk more about Enable and the deal we have with them at a later date. Trial design, it's very straightforward. There's no gotchas here. The primary endpoints, secondary endpoints are well established in approved Parkinson's drugs. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We'll be going into advanced patients. As we get closer to dosing first patient, we'll talk about the N on this trial, the number of patients, and how we've laid it out. It will be the first truly placebo-controlled trial of apomorphine ever done. I'll preview that. And then we hope the agency salutes a phase 2b/3 single pivotal trial that will lead to an approvable NDA application. And then we will follow that up, typically in the 505(b)(2) regulatory pathway. The agency requires you to follow up with a patient set, maybe 1,000 patients over a few years, just to understand any safety tolerability issues that might have been missed in an accelerated time to approval. So I've laid out here the projected value driving milestones. We'll have our NDA filing around mid-year with the FDA, and we hopefully will get that trial design and regulatory pathway we're looking for. We'll initiate the trial in the third quarter, and we'll have interim readouts and final readouts in the timeframes you see here. And we also anticipate in our platform activities and other modalities, as they mature and our data sets become publicly disclosed and our business development activity matures also and evolves, we will have the potential to bring in non-dilutive capital in partnering and licensing opportunities in our other platform modalities. So that's my pitch. Sorry for running through it. I wanted to get in under the gun and open to questions now, John.
No, that's great, Stephen. It's exciting. Some of my best investments in the life sciences space is always following the smart money, the idea, the thoughts, and having these successful investors involved here gives me excites me to see how they've been there, done that, seen exits in the space, and most importantly, seeing that you're working on an area in Parkinson's that hits too close to home. That I'm hoping that you guys are extremely successful bringing this to the world. So just a couple questions here. One is related to dosing. Again, I know you covered this, but maybe you could just reiterate this: is how will you dose this drug if the patient needs different dosing during the day? How would you do
Well,
it?
the goal is the patient won't need any kind of dose adjusting, because we'll dial that in the MAD study. And MAD is an acronym for multiple ascending dosing, right? And so the MAD portion of the trial is designed to really dial in the dosing for for patients based on weight, other comorbidities, et cetera, right? So your SAD trial is a single ascending dose. You're trying to establish that minimum dose that hits the therapeutic index where you're getting efficacy for the patient, right? So this is a 1B trial. Typical phase 1 trials in pharma drug development are in normal healthy volunteers, and they're all about safety and tolerability. Our trial will be designed to really tease out dose and dial in a range of doses. So we would have different vials of dosing for that particular patient. And so once we dial that in, certainly, once a drug is approved and the clinician is working with the patient, you may have to titrate up or down. And that's simply a function of a different vial with a different, volume of active drug that they just snap onto the device. And so again, once you dial in that dosage that you get that therapeutic index that keeps the patient in that therapeutic window of being on, you just have to put this device on twice a week for 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day. And that patient always stays on, doesn't need rescue therapies, doesn't need a home health aide to do this. So the cost savings and the elegance of the product. Think about a Parkinson's patient today. They have to wear their care, right? And so they're constantly thinking about it. There's a home health care aide that's in their life. This device is so freeing from a quality of life standpoint, this drug device combo.
Agreed. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and we've got this device exclusively for the indication. And importantly, Enable doesn't offer this device as a 510K, off the shelf device that anybody can use because it's approved. Their business model is partnering with drug companies to create drug device combos. You can go to their website and see their partners are all big pharma. And then there's little Serina's symbol on their website. So we think that's pretty cool.
That is. Just a reminder, we have some further questions, but remember, if anything comes to mind, you can just ping me on the Zoom chat feature. We'll try to fit it in here. Here's the next question. What are the material assumptions behind your peak sales estimates?
Yeah, I touched on them briefly, and again, I've presented this to investors and experts in the field, and their opinion is that we have a premium priced product here because we've got the ability to put the patient in control of their care, and the home health care aides, you all probably know how expensive they are, to employ, and the quality of life issues are an intangible, obviously, that you can't measure the cost, but certainly the payors certainly do take that into consideration. So look, it's early days, but Vialev, we're going to see what their uptake looks like, and see what their discounted price is off their wholesale acquisition cost. But I suspect that 119,000 per patient per year maybe gets discounted by Medicare down to 85, 90,000, and then we would price at a premium to that. But the model you showed was that we showed to the investors here was at 65,000. It was comparable to the competitive product today. So, you put that into the model, and then you've got, what I suggested was a $3 billion opportunity. And again, the patient opportunity set, that unmet need, 180,000, about 50% of them are inadequately controlled, are going to seek care, right? And then we're going to get our share of that, 40 to 50%. And that's not our sticking our finger in the wind. We've had multiple interviews with KOLs that know the space, Competed Products, RTPP, and a third-party commercial assessment firm that built this model for us, that knows the space. And I will tell you, as a group that was introduced to us by our executive chairman, Sim McGill, they are not yes folks. They will tell you what they feel. And we brought them multiple molecules. They've told us, no, this is not a commercial market you want to go after. They absolutely love this opportunity.
Interesting. I guess taking a step back before you get there, what is the pause APO phase 1B trial cost?
It's going to be, we modeled it in the 8 to 10 million range, and sort of a good rule to thumb. We haven't, it's a good rule of thumb, and it's pretty well established publicly that thinking about this patient is going to be in a phase 1 unit, a hospital unit, during the couple of weeks that we're dialing in their dosing, taking their blood every couple of hours, and modeling the PK and really trying to dial in efficacy and dosing. So that's a big commitment on the part of the patient, right? To go into a hospital unit, 24/7 for a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So that's expensive. So think about it at about 100,000 per patient. So model that out, and we're going to spend 8 to 10 million on this phase 1B SAD/MAD trial.
Okay. And then assuming it's successful, is the model you intend to out-license this, and at what stage would you think that would be rational?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and hopefully, we get the readout on the phase 1B that we're looking for, and at that point, it is almost like a phase 2 trial. It's just not necessarily powered because your N is smaller. But it will have a pretty high, chance of success in the eyes of big pharma to start the auction, right? And we know AbbVie cares, and they've been an aggressive acquirer of Parkinson's and CNS assets, and others, Mitsubishi, Lundbeck. There's 6 to 8 players that might show up at the auction for this asset. And we built the model, our pricing, our COGS model, even with the device, to support an out-licensing economic model. So that is our intent. Whether that happens earlier rather than later, it's too soon to know. We certainly plan to take it into a phase 2 trial and raise the capital to do that. Even if folks show up at an auction, just to call their bluff maybe and move the price higher, right? So, but certainly it would not be our intention to build a marketing, sales force, marketing, etc. Right? So, the wholly owned asset pipeline that we're building, this is the lead. You can think about it as an out licensing model after phase 1, 2, 3, however it rolls out. The other activities lend themselves, the other modalities, the platform, lend themselves to partnering straightforward. But there's also a business model where we, again, could use the optimization, the proprietary optimization technologies that we built to enable our own assets in those fields, in the ADC and RNA space. So we're running to ground those business models as well. Obviously, they would take a lot of capital. You're talking 100, 200 million in capital to build that aspect of what we're doing. But I will tell you that our executive chairman, Simba Gill, who was a flagship pioneering partner, has started multiple companies at TPG and elsewhere. He is in this deal because he feels like there are multiple companies within this platform. And it remains to be seen whether we can execute that. And we're really not talking about that with investors today. But that is, in the background of what we potentially can do with this technology.
Interesting. We've had you on here quite some time, and this is extremely interesting. One last question, if you will. You just relatively recently announced a $10 million financing that was like 2x from where the stock was. Can you speak to that and how that happened? That seems extraordinary.
Well, we were thrilled to get the capital in. It was previously committed capital from Juvenescence and Greg Bailey as part of the structure of the reverse merger. It was a committed capital through a must cash exercise warrant construct and the price on that warrant was $13.20, and it was 3 tranches of 5 million out through July of next year. We wanted to bring that capital in sooner. And so we negotiated a price break from $13.20, which was the contractual price on the warrant construct, to $10. And, clearly Juvenescence could have, played hardball and said, well, market's, $5. Why would we, do just 10? Let's get a bigger discount. And the conversation never went in that direction, is with what's a win-win, what's fair, because we certainly believe that, Juvenescence will be supportive of the company going forward. And, that 10 million gives us, visibility to and runway till we get into some of these milestones that we laid out on that slide. But certainly every small cap biotech, the CEO's job is to raise capital always, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a function of the right partners, the right valuation. We have stayed away from doing any kind of structured deal with pipe players where we're going to burden the cap structure with warrants. We're going to try to keep this cap structure very clean, because our game plan is to really market the company when we mature the data. Because we're in the reverse merger orphanage right now, where no one knows us, and it's kind of pushing on a string, right, to have conversations about funding the company. So, we're opportunistic. We'll be S3 eligible in March, a year after the merger closed. So, stay tuned on how we build out the capital plan.
Okay, fantastic. Just a reminder, as an announcement, we have secured tribe events in Dallas on June 7th with Serina, and they're going to be presenting there. So if you're in the Dallas area, just ping us at events@tribepublic.com and let me know if you have some interest in actually meeting management of Serina. Also, during JP Morgan, we will have them in San Francisco presenting on January 16th. And if you have some interest and will be in town for that conference, let us know. And you can also have a chance to meet management and ask further questions. Stephen, exciting opportunity here, and it's an interesting mix that I've seen play out very well before in the way that you've structured this, and having this platform nature, and having others that have successfully found exits. And time and time again, it's been an interesting place to try to make a few bucks in the stock market and investing in life sciences for me and many others. So I'm excited to follow your progress and to be involved with this, and look forward to having you back on here maybe in a quarter or so as you get these move forward with the data on another webinar. And again, thank all that participate today. And again, continue to express your interest in meeting Serina and other companies that you want to meet and learn from and have this direct corporate access to the tribe events, both webinar and these in-person events across the US. Thanks again. Look forward to see what's the future here with Serina. And one last reminder, we'll have this video up at the YouTube Tribe public YouTube channel soon, and we'll put it in the Tribe This Week at the end of the week, which is our Friday e-newsletter that connects all and further creates understanding. So again, thanks, Stephen. Look forward to seeing you soon, and happy holidays, everyone. And thanks for giving us some insights today, Stephen.
Thank you, John. Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
All the best.